Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the Big Movement Podcast. And today we're going to talk about something extremely important in business, and that's rapid implementation. And we're going to have 4 steps today. The reason why this is important is there's so many people. They've suffered from the constant learning syndrome. I think every one of us, we've gone through that, where we think that we don't know enough, that there's this lack of knowledge, lack of experience, and you just want to keep pushing yourself to absorb more knowledge. But at some point, you just have to draw a line in the sand and begin implementing, because you can only learn so much, as what that results in is potential. And potential doesn't equal revenue in your business. So here's 4 steps that anybody can easily do in their business. Doesn't matter what type of business it is. So that way you can be able to start seeing results. So the first thing is to identify the most basic goal in the sales process in your business. And one of them is to get people onto your email list. So the reason why that's important is something simple. You can always market to people over and over because you have their information. And it doesn't matter what type of business you're in, that should be one of your primary goals, is to capture their information so you can follow up with them. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how much traffic you send to your website if you can't follow up with them. So let's just go with that as the most basic goal in this example here. So by knowing that, then you can be able to start going to step number 2, which is to work backwards from that goal that you want to achieve. So if you want to get people on your list, well, what do you have to do to get them there? Well, in most cases, you need to give them an offer, something that's going to make them say yes. Think of it like a potato chip, a cookie, or whatever you want to call it. Who has just one? Think of Pringles or any other potato chip. Have you just had one chip out of the bag? You're like, oh, I'll have another. Before you know it, you're shaking the bag upside down, trying to get the little crumbs out. You need to have the same mindset when you're offering somebody to get their information. It has to be so good, they're hungry for more. That's a value proposition of what you're going to give to them consistently, day in and day out. But it has to be really impressive, because you have that one chance to make a first impression, and for them to want more from you day in and day out. So that's that first thing. That's after, before you get them onto your list. But then you come down to, well, what type of traffic do you want to use? Well, there's different choices, and that's going to be something we'll cover in a different episode. And you can also listen to some of the other episodes we have. We'll have some people coming on soon to talk about Facebook advertising and so forth. But what you do is you think of what traffic sources are going to get there. Okay, so great. You identify that. And before that, it's the ad that you're going to have to get people there. So you've come in this process here, you've really identified the most basic things that you need. You need to have something that's there, that you're going to offer them. Of course, you have to have a way to capture it, but you need to be able to capture the email address. Here's the source you're going to use, and here's the ad. Really simple. Because what this does is this eliminates a lot of the overwhelm, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get people there? That part's really simple to do. And then that leads to step number 3. You create the minimum viable product, your MVP. And here's why this is important. You don't want to go over the top, especially when you're just getting started. Because what can happen is this. You spend hours and hours and hours making this amazing looking PDF, this amazing looking custom coded landing page, these amazing ads that you spent, tons and tons of money on, and none of them work. How does that make you feel? Then you kind of get pissed off about it, and then you don't do it again. So then you get stuck. Versus you figure out what's the best way to get something up and running quickly. And one of my favorite tools, especially for landing pages, is lead pages. So if you just click the link that's in the description below, in terms of on this page here, you're going to see a link to it. Use it. Don't worry about creating something that's fancy and custom coded. On there, you can find pages that are already converting. use them. Don't reinvent the wheel. If you want to, in terms of creating the look and feel of a product out there, well, you don't need to be over the top and try to figure out something super fancy. All you need to do, and this is really simple, look up some of the people that you admire in your industry and see what they're offering, see if it's a PDF or whatever, and then just recreate that. If they have it in a format that looks really graphical, use that as a template. Go to a site like Canva and just redo it. Canva costs nothing to use. Of course, you put your information in there instead of theirs, but if it has a certain look and feel, you use that as a model to get that done. Then other things you can do is, well, if you're not sure what type of Facebook ads to be running, stay tuned for courses and things that we'll have on that. But look at the ads that are coming up in your news feed. See which ones have, if it's a video that has a high number of views, which ones have a lot of shares on it, which one have a lot of likes. These are the things that you want to look at, because if something has a lot of likes, been shared a bunch, and there's a ton of comments, maybe that's kind of popular. So what's the easiest thing to do? Use that as a template and make something similar. Now, granted, it's much easier if it's in your industry because you already know what works. That's all you have to do. Model what is out there and just get something done, because this is the fastest way to create cash in your business. And then here's the last little step. You measure what's working and then you improve upon it. The reason why you go for that minimum viable product is you don't want to spend a ton of time. You want to get something that's going to work. And then you make it better, because you don't know everything that your audience wants right away. So give them what you think you need at this point. And of course, there's other steps you can find out, but you give them that product. And once you start seeing results, then you can start saying, people are responding to this version of an ad more than another one. Or how come this person over here is getting better results? Maybe I should make some changes. Maybe I should run some tests and things. That's when you can begin improving upon stuff, where you start looking at the analytics in your posts that you're putting on from your Facebook page. Oh, this is interesting. This type of post here is getting more action. Maybe that's a sign. You want to look for the patterns, the things that are drawing more people to your message day in and day out, and then build upon it. That's the whole thing about measuring and improvement. So when you put this all together, it comes back down to those 4 simple steps, and that's identify the most basic goal in your process, work backwards from that goal you want to achieve, create the minimum viable product, what you need, and then measure and improve. That's it. But the most important thing above all is you have to execute. You have to take action, because you can think about it all day long, but until you do it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you worked all day at a normal 9-to-5 job, or you've been working with clients all day and you know that there's something you need to do. Put the extra hour or 2 it takes every day to get there, because the only difference from the people that have what you want and where you are right now is they took action. That's it. So I want you to look at your calendar. I want you to look at what you're doing each day and ask yourself, are you doing something to take you one step closer to achieving your goals in business? So I hope that you got something out of this today. Take action. And then connect with me on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/The Byron Ingram and let me know how this has helped you. Make it an awesome day.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.